This will be the beginning of the proper winter part of this campaign. You know, the last bit was November and we're now in January, so it could get pretty tough from now, but I've had a really good run of fish so far and I really hope I can carry that on. Oh, you can put this in front of them. It is rare they can resist that. Well, I mentioned solubility of bait and stuff yesterday. You can see he's passing it. Yeah. Anything this time of year, any little sign is important. The smallest things can lead to the biggest prizes. Hello? I've done it. I'm up. It's been just over a month since the last time I went fishing, and that was at the tail end of November. This is the second part of my winter campaign, and I've actually ended up missing the whole of December. I had a family holiday at the beginning of December, which was really nice. Went away with the baby and my mum and my dad, and of course my wife. We had a lovely time, and because of that break and the fact we had Christmas coming up at the end of the month, the middle part of December was a really busy time for me because I missed a week's work at the start. I was going to miss a week's work at the end because of the Christmas break. So the middle of that month, I just did not find time to come fishing. So I have missed the whole of December. It's now the 5th of January. Christmas and New Year is out the way, and I hope all of you have had a lovely time. You'll be watching this a little bit later on in the year, but either way, I'd just like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and say that I hope you had a Happy New Year. But back to business. It's the 5th of January and the lake has changed somewhat. There is nothing left on the trees in the way of leaves. It's noticeably colder lately, and although the temperature isn't too bad today, it's about 8 degrees, the lake does seem a little bit more dead. You know, I did last night, I heard 2 or 3 very subtle shows and 1 proper clatter out. So I have seen signs of fish, but you know, you can tell now into January that the lake is shutting down. When I cast my rods out, I put a rod out last night with a PVA bag on it, reeled it in, and when I got the rod back to the bank, you know, the bag was still there. So, you know, things like that just show you how much the temperature of the water has changed, and that's going to have a big effect on the carp. You know, if the water's much colder, they're going to be behaving differently, and although they are still showing, you can just sense that the lake's calmed down a little bit. But I have got some signs to go on. It was hard to work out exactly where they were last night, and I've dropped into this swim because I'd caught from here at the end of November. My last couple of trips, this is where I caught fish from, so I dropped back in here yesterday because it was the best place that I could think of to start. I can see a lot of the lake from here, and I did hear fish out here, just not 100% sure exactly where they were. But I've got 3 rods out there. I'm not using a lot of bait, same tactics I was using in November. Little PVA bags, bright hook baits, and a few boilies scattered over the top, you know. And when you're fishing in a very active style like I am, which basically involves seeing a carp show, casting to it, and if needs be, moving as well. You know, if you've watched the first piece of this diary, you'll know how much I was moving around throughout the night. And if you haven't watched it, then I suggest that you go back and watch it because, you know, you're on part 2, and if you've missed part 1, you are essentially missing out. So this will be the beginning of the proper winter part of this campaign. You know, the last bit was November and we're now in January. So it could get pretty tough from now, but I've had a really good run of fish so far. I think I've had, well, I can tell you what I've had. I've had a 42-pound mirror, a 39-pound mirror, 35 mirror, and 4 or 5 smaller fish. So, you know, I've had a good run of bites throughout November, and I really hope I can carry that on throughout January. It's just going to be a little bit harder, I reckon. Okay, it's time to reel in. I had a liner not that long ago on that middle rod, but as I've mentioned before in this series of films, I want to get my rods out nice and early because a an evening bite in the winter is something that I'm always confident of. I'd rather get my rods done a little bit earlier. I'm prone to getting the rods out a bit late throughout the rest of the year. Lastminute.com as it's getting light, but during this time of the year, you know, I want to get them done nice and early.